So I have this running theory that when you start a project and like you take a break for a couple of months or just even a couple of weeks, you stop working on it basically. The longer you wait, the harder it is to finish it and the harder it is to jump back in. It's honestly kind of similar to when you have to start a project. It can be, depending on what it is, it can be kind of intimidating to start. A lot of times just the way to fix the stress and like it's kind of like the fear of the unknown. Like it's scary to dive into it immediately. But once you do, then it's just, you feel a lot better. So I got hired to shoot a wedding video for somebody that's not our wedding video. The delivery was like 4-ish months, and normally our wedding delivery dates are a lot sooner than that. So what I did was I worked on it and I got like a rough cut, and then I didn't touch it for like a month. Now I want to finish it before the holidays are over. But I've spent the last week just kind of not putting it off, just in my mind like, oh, I have time. It's really convenient and easy just to say I'll get to it tomorrow. It's kind of got to the point where I want to finish it. But every time I think about doing it, I end up not doing it and find something else to do, because it's pretty easy to find something else to do, especially when you don't want to do something. And it's not just like video specific. Like it happens to me when I do drum stuff and stuff like that. Like if I have like a song that I recorded, but then like I don't have to deliver it till like a couple weeks later, I'm not gonna touch it like after I record it. And me being me, that got me thinking like, well, why is that? Like, why do I do that? It would be easier just to completely jump into a task and just completely finish it and move on to the next thing, instead of doing a little bit here and then a couple weeks goes by doing a little bit more here, because it's just easier to finish it right away instead of letting it draw out. And I think the main thing for me is anytime I hit like any kind of friction, or I have to like things aren't going as smooth as I would like them, if I have the luxury of time in the back of my brain, I'll just say, oh, I'll just put it off later, and I'll just kind of run away from the problem basically. And don't get me wrong, taking breaks it's a good thing. Like it's totally healthy to do that, and a lot of times in a creative thing, breaks are what you need if you're frustrated working on something and you're not getting much done. Taking a break a lot of times can fix that or help you move past whatever roadblock you're dealing with. But like everything in life, there's a balance, and I feel like there's a balance between taking breaks and just pushing through and getting a job done. And I think I need to push through and get this job done. She's helping me out. I'm editing photos. Taking a break to make lunch. Lunch is over. Now we're gonna get back to doing that. Also, I forgot till I checked my text messages. I actually have a session in here tomorrow, so I have to prep for that. Fortunately, with it being my studio, I don't really have to do much as far as prep goes, but there are a few things. So basically, what prepping means for me, at least, is making sure all the drums are relatively tuned to a okay-ish level, making sure I have drumsticks that are good to go, make sure all the signal chain and everything else, there's no broken XLRs between here and my desk over there. Basically just to make sure that everything's functioning properly hardware wise, that way I don't have to fumble with it or mess with it tomorrow when I'm loading the song and into Pro Tools and all of that stuff. In the past, I've tried loading the song and getting a rough idea down beforehand, the day before if I have the time, and it's just never really worked out well for me personally. I like to have my initial thoughts and my initial reactions be captured and recorded, and obviously I'm not gonna record things until the producer is here, so because of that, I purposely don't record anything until or even open the session or listen to the song until the day of. And honestly, a lot of times it'll be after the producer gets here. That way I'm completely fresh and all of those initial ideas can be captured if need be. I know some guys don't do that. They like to listen to it before and get a proper chart written out, and that's great. It's just for me, that's just my personal way that I work, and I found that works better for me. And that's basically it. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just mostly personal preference. I also realized that basically that's the complete opposite of what this video started with. Like, you're not procrastinating, not putting things off, and just like getting stuff done. I think that's funny that there's a contrast there. I'm also making sure, you can't see me. I'm also making sure there's no like cracks or anything in the heads themselves. Because obviously I need to buy a new one before that session. I think I'm good. All right, I think everything that I can do today for the session tomorrow is done. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I made sure that all the mic placements are still consistent and good. Actually, now all the mic placements are good. And I made sure that all of the signal chain is good. I think everything else is good. That's the nice thing about having your own home studio. Everything stays consistent and stays where it's supposed to be. I remember when I used to have the studio at a church. The biggest issue would be throughout the week, people would move things or touch things, which is fine. That's kind of what comes with the territory of working in a space that's not exclusively yours. But long story short, it's nice to have my own space where if anything gets moved or misplaced, it's completely me doing it, and I don't have to go hunt things down. So at the beginning of this video, I talked about why for me is it so hard to pick projects back up after like giving myself like a bunch of time in between, especially when there's no deadline or like the deadline's like months off. Why is it so hard to like just pick back up where I left off? And I have to tell you, working through this edit and like finalizing things and changing things around, there's a certain level of relief that I'm getting from doing that, and it's purely because I'm getting something that's been kind of lingering over my head. I'm tackling it and getting it done. When I go for my runs, most of the time I listen to audiobooks or books on tape. And one of the books that I just finished talks about why we work and what the whole purpose of like working is. Basically, the whole premise of the book is, as humans, we were created to work and we were created to be productive. And when we stop doing that for an extended period of time, not talking about like taking a break or taking like a weekend off or anything else. I'm talking about like just stopping work for like an extended like 2-3 week plus or whatever, an extended period of time, we start to lose our sense of purpose. The book talks about like how there's a correlation of like people that like stop working and like can't do what they're doing, and a loss of like purpose. Having work and goals and stuff basically gets you out of bed in the morning. It's mostly just talking about purpose and fulfillment in life, and work gives us fulfillment and purpose. It's a really interesting concept, and it honestly kind of makes you think about work in a different way. All that to be said, I'm glad I'm finally tackling this thing, and I'm gonna try to get it done this week, if not today. Today might be a little ambitious, but for sure this week. I wanna tackle it before we're going on a trip this weekend, and I wanna tackle it before that. If I had one thing to complain about in my studio, it's this little boom arm looking thing, because without fail, almost every week, if not every single day, my foot hits this, and it brings the kick drum out just a little bit. I can't tell you how many times I've shot things for social media and the kick drum is microphone's sticking out, and it doesn't sound bad, it just sounds less boomy and it just sounds weaker, if that makes sense. That's another reason why it's always a good idea to just check your stuff, before, especially for a session. Before people start typing down in the comments that I should check my my microphone placement before I record, I do that every single time I have a producer or a project that I'm doing. I'm talking mostly just for like social media stuff, because if I'm being completely honest, most of my social media videos and stuff are very spontaneous, and the nice thing about this setup and the way I have everything like made is I literally just have to flip one switch in this and open Pro Tools, and I'm tracking. Like, it's super easy, super convenient. Didn't want you thinking I'm some kind of amateur. You know, you wouldn't think this, but the most challenging days to vlog are the days like today, where we basically have nothing going on. Like, we're literally just sitting at home getting work done, which means that like there's no interesting, like visually interesting stuff going on. I'm basically just sitting at my computer all day long editing. Makes it challenging. Not impossible, it's challenging. Now here talking to my camera, and They both want to be let outside. Hello? So tomorrow I have that session, and I want to be able to capture the entire like recording process. But the tricky part is I don't keep all of the, like, a lot of times in these sessions, like we have like I'll track just the verse or I'll track just the chorus, and basically the end product ends up being just a bunch of chopped up sections smashed together. Me not wanting to sit there and hunt and fish through the footage to figure out what section goes with what, I need a better solution. And my solution is to capture it in two different places. The problem is I don't want to run a whole nother computer system and a whole nother, that's for this, it's not worth it. Like, I think the saying is the juice isn't worth the squeeze, so I need another way to do that. And I think I figured it out. Do you remember I've done a couple videos on this piece of gear. Do you remember me talking about the iRig 2? It's like what I use to capture in-ear audio with. This thing right here. Well, I think with this piece of gear lies my answer to my problem. So I have this headphone output that I use to track things with, and I have this iRig. And what I do for live situations is I literally take this headphone output and split it, and then one goes to my ears and the other one goes to this iRig, which eventually connects to my phone. So why not just do what I do live for this session? That way I still have the good audio, and it's gonna all be synced up to what actually happens live and what this camera ultimately captures, giving me unedited, unspliced audio that I can use for this image. Now, how I'm going to get the audio from the iRig to the phone is actually pretty simple, and simpler than you would think. I'm going to split the signal through this. One goes to my headphones, one goes to the iRig, and then from the iRig to my phone. And from there I can get the audio into my phone one of two ways. I can either use the video app on my phone, and it'll capture video and audio if I wanted a second angle, or if I just wanted audio, then I can just open up my voice memos app on my phone and just record it that way. In my head, it'll work, and it honestly should work. Because again, I don't want something that's gonna be super distracting either, because I do have a job to do, which is record the song. So this has to be completely secondary. It's a mess in here. Okay, so I want to do something. I used to do this a lot, and I just stopped for some reason, and I wanted to do it again. I'm basically going to walk you through a song that I played live, and talk about it as we go along. So this is me playing King of My Heart, and this was back when I was playing at Elevation at the Roanoke campus, to give you a little context on what's going on in the video. Savannah's sitting side stage, getting the iPhone clip, if that makes sense. So we started with like a big intro, and this is the big intro that we started with. To a down chorus. And like I said, Savannah's literally sitting on the side of the stage, going like this with my iPhone. The snare drum I have on the bottom is my Ludwig Acrolite, actually. For this stuff, I always bring, whenever I play live, I try to bring 2 snare drums just in case like something happens. And it's actually saved my butt like 2 or 3 times where the head broke or my main snare like malfunctioned. So if you can do it, bring 2 snares always. Classic King of My Heart beat, rim, kick, and snare. The tambourine sample is actually part of the loop, so I'm not playing that. That's just coming from my laptop. If you noticed, I used my hi-hat and splashed a little bit to kind of transition us into the second round of the verse, just to make it a little, like, give it a little push and pull, if that makes sense. So I'm keeping that hi-hat going, but it's not like crisp, but it's not splashy. It's like a little like sloshy, just to give like a little more depth to the groove. Gotta fix my floor or rack tom. It's funny. That happens a lot actually. I don't know why. With that kit specifically, it always just moved around. Just the rack tom, nothing else. I added the ride with the hi-hats just to kind of push it a little bit more. Swelling. So again, I'm using the hi-hats to like make it feel bigger. Added more crashes. Straight to a build. Now a full groove. And I'm still doing the hi-hats just to give it a little more percussiveness and a little bit less washy, if that makes sense. That fill was literally just rack and floor toms, boom, boom, boom. Straight to the bridge. Standard fill just to, you know, I did that one a lot actually. Big outro. That's basically it. And then after that, we just kind of flowed a little bit and kind of went into the next song. If you liked me doing the little song walkthrough thing, let me know and I'll keep doing them. I like doing them. I just don't want them to. If you think they're boring, just let me know. But if you like them, also let me know so I keep doing them. I'm pretty sure that's the same shot that I got with the battery this morning.